Okay, so we're going to title this subsection the subjunctive with doubt, disbelief, and or denial. Okay. Now, same thing. We're going to have main clause. And I'm just going to keep repeating this so that it sounds normal to you. We're going to have K, and then we're going to have the subordinate clause. Okay? Now, hopefully we've picked up that at this point that the subordinate clause will be in the present subjunctive. Okay? And that the main clause will be in the present tense. And in this case, all right, it's going to be verbs and expressions of doubt, disbelief, oops, there we go, or denial. Again, we have K in between. Okay? So when we have a verb or expression of doubt, disbelief, or denial in the main clause, then we have to use the present subjunctive in the subordinate clause. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll up, and I'm going to put in a picture for you so we can see some of those expressions and verbs that are doubt, disbelief, and denial that we're going to use the subjunctive with. So again, just like the other ones, we're needing to memorize these. Remember that I've put all of these on Quizlet for you, so you can practice them so that you learn them, you understand them, you know that these are the phrases that we're using the present subjunctive with, okay? Now, you're looking here, okay? You're making sure that the subject changes in order to use the present subjunctive, right, in the second half. So we have here, the government denies, okay, remember that's present tense, that the water is contaminated. So because the government is different than the water as a subject, right, then we use the present subjunctive in the second half, which we call the subordinate clause. All right? We have I doubt, and again, we don't need the yo. We know that with the O ending that it's yo, but it's yo dudo, that the government, okay, will resolve the problem, okay, or resolves the problem. So it's the same pattern. It's just in that main clause, we are using verbs and expressions of doubt, disbelief, or denial. These are all triggers for the present subjunctive in the subordinate clause. Now, what's tricky about this, okay, and I want us to notice this verb in particular. No creer. To not believe, okay, or not to believe. So we're going to look at, remember that all of these are uncertain, right? So if I say, I don't believe that the company is doing everything that they can to fight pollution, okay? I don't believe it leads to a level of uncertainty, right? I don't know for sure, but I don't believe it. Now, when we're talking about the subjunctive and doubt, disbelief, and denial, we have to acknowledge that there is going to be the opposite. There's going to be verbs and phrases of certainty. So we're going to look at those. Okay, guys. So with expressions or verbs of certainty, I want us to remember that certainty goes against using the present subjunctive. Remember that we're using the subjunctive with uncertain actions, okay? So with actions or expressions of certainty, we're going to use the present tense. So we're going to make a note of that. So I'm going to pull this right here so that we can make a note right here, okay? So we're going to say, we we'll use the present tense, just the regular present tense, in the subordinate clause when we have actions, which are verbs, or expressions of certainty. Okay? So these, again, you have to memorize because they are just like vocab words. You got to know what they mean so that when you see them, you recognize that we're using it with just the regular present tense, not the present subjunctive. So let's take a look at some examples. And again, here's the verb creer. Remember that to not believe is considered doubt, denial, or disbelief, but to believe is considered certainty. Okay? So we're looking at this, and we're looking at some of the other verbs and phrases here. And we can see in this first example, no negamos, okay? So we do not deny that. And then notice here, I. This is the present tense. Okay? So we're saying that there are. If it was the present subjunctive, then maybe this wouldn't be there. If we took out the no, now we're denying, then we would have to change this to haya. Okay? But that's not the case. We're not saying that we deny, we're saying that we don't deny. And that is considered, okay, an expression or an action of certainty. So we're using the present tense. All right. Now, what I want to look at are just a couple of phrases. So just like in the last section, we had the expression ojalá. I want us to look at two phrases that we're going to use, okay, the subjunctive with, because they both mean the same thing, and we're going to see how there's some uncertainty in there. Okay, now we're going to use the subjunctive, and it says usually. Go ahead and use it, okay, because they both imply doubt about something. Let me tell you what they both mean. So, quizás and tal vez are both going to mean perhaps or maybe. And if we're saying, well, maybe, clearly there's some uncertainty there, right? So we're going to make note that we're going to follow it with the subjunctive. But I want you to notice that we are not using que here. Okay? That we don't need that. All we need to do is use the phrase. Okay, so we've got the one phrase here, one phrase here. So quizás, tal vez, haga sol mañana. So perhaps or maybe it will be sunny tomorrow. Tal vez veamos la luna esta noche. Perhaps or maybe we will see the moon tonight. There's some uncertainty there, so we're going to use the subjunctive after it.